Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode, the Dodge Aspen. Hello and welcome back to Quarterlight. Now if you're new to Quarterlight, which I'm sure many of you are, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 1990s, and we sometimes go beyond those years as well. Then please do consider subscribing, because Quarterlight's all about cars, car brochures, looking back on cars gone by, really all about the memories these cars bring back with some nice little specifications you may have forgotten. Then please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Now for today's episode, we're looking at a car I know very little about, really, the Dodge Aspen. So let's throw that on the board and let's have a talk a little bit about it. So here it is, the 1979 Dodge Aspen. Enjoy that great big car feeling, which is a strange title because actually this might kind of sound a little bit weird to European ears, really, but these were originally classed as compact cars, believe it or not. Later on, more sort of like seen as more intermediate cars, but looks absolutely ginormous to European viewers' eyes, I'm sure. So that's peculiar. But the Dodge Aspen, it was really just a badged engineered car. Most of them were sold as the Plymouth Volare, and actually in 1977 it was Canada's top-selling car, amazingly enough. I mentioned that because this is actually a Canadian brochure. It is something different, really, to see on Quarterlight, because we don't really cover too many American cars, really, because for me, the programme was really started all about thinking those memories of cars that brought back to me when I look through car brochures, and you suddenly get this memory of, oh yeah, I remember such and such a person had one of those, or I went for a ride to the seaside with my best friends when I was 6 or something, those sorts of memories. But American cars, I have zero memories of them whatsoever, because in the UK these weren't driving around, were they? But I'm sure they promote some memories for some people, so obviously we should cover them. But a little bit of a note, some people might think I don't like American cars because I don't really cover them too often. That isn't the case. It's purely that I don't have any memories of them, and for me cars are as much about memories as the cars themselves. We'll zoom in a little bit further on this very interesting image though. Bit of a zoom in on this, quite a lovely example. It must be a very high spec, this one. Two-tone, so silver sides and so that black bonnet. Quite suits the colour. These are amazing sort of white wall tyres. Presumably it must have been sold with those, and these interesting wheel trims. Even though it's kind of like telling us this is more of an intermediate size car. I guess it looks like a big car. They're going for the looks of a big car, I guess, and that's why they say enjoy that great big car feeling without it being a big car. Although, like I say, in Europe this looks rather huge, even in this intermediate size. But I do find them interesting though. I do find American cars and American styling interesting, even though they went a completely different way, as in most other countries around the world were more in tune of what a small car was. They needed a small car for fuel efficiency, etc. In America they went a different way entirely. Said we want big cars, and that's what we're going to have. Fuel pretty cheap compared to the rest of the world, although in Canada a little bit more expensive. But unfortunately for Canada, they were kind of like had to go with whatever America wanted in a way, in that it was so close. It was cheaper to import cars from America, and of course they built American cars in Canada as well. So I sometimes feel if Canada was a bit more separated, then I think they probably would have gone for a more smaller car as well than what America went for. And even today, the American car sales or the Canadian car sales are very much dictated of what the American sales want. I'm sure Canada would like more smaller cars, but they didn't really get them. And like I said, you would never think of this as a small car in Europe. Anyway, I'm drifting off the point. What I'm trying to say is I actually think they're really interesting, American cars like this. The styling is very interesting indeed, and maybe we should cover more American cars on Quarterlight, because after all, it's Quarterlight. We look at cars from around the world, and we certainly cover a lot of Australian cars, because I certainly find Australian cars really fascinating, because from a European or British point of view, they think, oh, that's but it's not, because it's got a huge engine. And you know what I mean? It still brings back the memories because of the design, but then Australia decided, we're going to put huge engines in them, and I find that absolutely fascinating. But like I say, we should really cover more American cars, really, because we do look at cars from around the world. And Wittrin, let's open the brochure. Then we open the page and we find out there isn't just quite an average looking four-door sedan. There's a huge array of different models. I've always particularly liked the American station wagons, or estates as we would call them in the UK, but the station wagons I always think are quite fascinating with the fake wood design, although these aren't the huge station wagons you think of, but it's still got the styling of a much bigger vehicle. They haven't really thought about it and said, we're going to make a smaller car, but they've decided we're going to make a smaller car but make it look like a big car. That's how they went with that. We'll read some of the text and we'll come back to these lovely images, which are actually quite nice. Oh, and one thing to note just before we zoom into this text and have a little bit of a read. You always find with American and Canadian car brochures, I guess this is just for the brochure nerds like myself, paper quality is completely different to what you find in the rest of the world, strangely. Let's read the text. So he starts by saying, no car is the one and only answer to the private transportation needs of all Canadians. So I always thought that was quite unusual how it starts in this brochure, because very often for the Canadian brochures they're exactly the same written as the American brochures, but this has obviously been written specifically for the Canadian buyer, which is interesting. It says your individual requirements such as economy, family size, handling and manoeuvrability, styling, durability and price range are a part of the Dodge Aspen story. So, welcome to the Dodge Aspen family of cars. We feel they go a long way towards meeting many of your needs and desires. There are 12 ways to go Aspen. That's 3 four-door sedans, 3 four-door wagons and 3 two-door coupes, and 3 speciality models. Interesting. It's simple. There's an Aspen, a custom or a special edition exterior and interior package for each sedan, wagon and coupe, plus 3 speciality models: the Sunrise Coupe, RT Coupe and Sport Wagon. You pick and choose from these 12 offerings. Okay, so most of the range have got what we would think as being a package. You would just pick custom, special edition, interior and exterior package, etc. But there are also these special models, the Sunrise Coupe, RT Coupe, which sounds like it's going to be fast, and Sport Wagon. Interesting, so quite a vast range actually. It says, let's talk economy. Aspen's standard slant 6 3.7 litre 225 cubic inch engine is a proven performer, delivering spirited performance with an eye on your wallet too. So even though 3.7 litre slant 6 sound like quite a big engine to European eyes, that's a relatively small engine actually for an American car in the 70s. It goes on to tell us inside there's room for 6 adults. That's a byproduct of the space-saving, strong, all-welded construction that's unibody, and when you combine it with torsion bar front. suspension, leaf springs in the rear, Oriflow shock absorbers and sound insulation, you're a car that's really quiet and handles beautifully on all kinds of roads. Styling is a matter of personal taste. Dodge Aspen lets you design your own, starting with the basic Aspen. You can do a lot to get the car you want. If you like it basic, then you order Dodge Aspen. For those who have a yen for more, it's the custom package, the special edition, or the speciality model. For many of you, the Dodge Aspen lists of options like two-tone paints could be the answer to how you like to dress up and equip your car. Before you do, look at the standard equipment list, especially the safety items. You'll see Dodge Aspen is quite a car. Chrysler's 36-month anti-corrosion warranty backs up the durability of every Dodge Aspen. Your dealer has full details. In the final analysis, you'll select the car that meets your requirements. Try Dodge Aspen, price Dodge Aspen before you buy or lease. Okay, let's move on to those 4 rather lovely images. So the first 2 models it's designed to show us are the sedans. The one in the background there is sort of like the base model, just the Aspen 4-door sedan. I guess that's what you would have bought, just being your stock vehicle. The one on the foreground though is the special edition version. Is it vastly different? Hard to tell until you actually get in the car itself, but certainly we've got these sort of extra strips going down the side there. So we do also have these 2-door coupes, which are probably a little bit more interesting really. Very 70s, aren't they? So the Aspen Special Edition is in the foreground, and then the background image there is the Aspen Custom. So the Aspen Custom is having sort of like a 2-tone paintwork. The Special Edition having this unusual sort of section just in this sort of area, very much American styling to do that sort of thing. I don't know if it's a vinyl roof, I'm not sure what materials they're actually using on there, but very, very American in its styling. Also, we've got these nicer wheels on the Special Edition. These for me are my favourite models. I don't know why. I mean, it's a funny thing to like really in many ways, but I've always liked estates and station wagons. There is just something about them. I really don't know why I like them so much, but certainly they would be my pick. So on the left there we've got the Custom and the Special Edition version on the right, which is rather nicely got the sort of fake wood on it, which is very much of its time really. It's absolutely horrendous in many ways, but I would have the one with wood on, of course. Moving on to some more unusual models. The foreground actually is probably the best of the station wagons. Look at that, the sports wagon, sort of combining that sort of practicality of a station wagon with sort of sporty looks. Look at those amazing wheels. I actually really like those. Who else have we got though? Oh, the RT version. A little bit of a zoom in on the RT model. I guess if any of them was collectible, I guess it would be this one, although I don't really know too much about them. Lots of RT written on the back and the sides, of course, giving it that sporty look, and I'm sure it came with a larger engine. And if I just swivel the camera around, this is your other model. So this is going to be your Sunrise Coupe. Interesting. I think one of the things for me, and this is no criticism, so don't take this the wrong way, one of the things for me is you always find with American cars and restorers of American cars, they always pick the muscle cars, don't they, to restore and spend big money to restore and bring these back to superb condition. And of course, they're worth big money when they've done that. Nobody ever chooses to restore and spend big money bringing these ordinary cars back to life. And for me, the ordinary cars are far more interesting than the muscle cars. I know I'm probably in the minority saying that, so nobody would ever spend any money. So you always see lots and lots of muscle cars, of course, because they're always being restored. And these sort of everyday cars unfortunately die out, don't they? Because who would ever spend $100,000 on bringing one of these back to life when it's probably still not worth hardly anything when it's in mint condition? So I just think that's a little bit sad. Anyway, we'll look at some of the features and the interior, then we'll come back to the engine and transmission specifications. Trunk big, it tells us. What are you going to do with all that fruit? Over 450 dm cubed, or 16 cubic feet, enough to tote the travelling and day-to-day carrying needs for the average family. I'm pretty sure that is not the day-to-day carrying needs for the average family, but nevertheless. Controls are very much American car at its time, isn't it? That instruments easy to read, controls easy to reach, bit of fake wood in there by the looks of it. A combination of good looks and safety with wood grain instrument cluster and easy to read gauges. Maybe it was actual wood, but it still looks fake. Variable intensity lights, key left in ignition warning buzzer, and parking brake warning lights are also included. Is this a manual gearbox on this? I would expect US, Canada, but that does look like a manual, doesn't it? That is a bit peculiar. Look at that interior. The seats always look wonderful on these American cars, big or small. All of the comfort. It says you can have an optional 60/40 cloth bench seat. So I guess this is the blue example, or showing you can get in different colours. This is your optional vinyl bench seat. Don't pick the vinyl. It's horrendous. Yeah, it might last a bit longer, but really, you're going to burn yourself in summer and freeze yourself in winter, particularly in Canada, for goodness sake. And then there's your standard cloth and vinyl bench seat. I do like the idea of bench seats, but the sort of individual cloth seats do look the most comfortable. It tells us Aspen Interiors, personally yours. You pick and choose from an array of interiors containing many colours and materials. Of course, there are more selections in the custom and special edition packages. The Aspen 2-door coupe and 4-door sedan feature a cloth and vinyl bench seat in a wide range of colours. In the custom interior package, special edition package and options for the basic Aspen, there are a total of 6 more seats in many attractive colour combinations. Your salesman will be happy to pick your favourite. Always nice at a time you could not only pick the colour of the outside of the car, I'm sure you had a huge range of colours, but also pick your interior as well. It's quite sad those days have gone. So moving to the station wagon cargo area, the Aspen wagons are designed to carry people and cargo. For your transportables, there's 2070 dm cubed, or 73.1 cubic foot of space. That's enough for a one-day picnic or a month-long vacation. Showing the practicality of being able to fold that seat down, although at a time when the whole thing flopped down rather than having a split in it. It goes on to tell us about the interiors for the station wagons. Wagon interior selections range from a standard all vinyl bench seats to optional all vinyl bucket seats. So just vinyl there. A custom interior package and special edition interior package are also available at extra cost. Aspen gives you plenty of comfort and seating selection, so maybe I'm having a look at that custom package to see if there's a bit of cloth in there. Maybe my opinion at least. So these are your optional vinyl bucket seats. Like I said, vinyl in -40 in Canada does not seem like a great idea. Then we get the engine and transmission selections, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Oh, by the way, these are just my opinions that I'm just randomly coming out with. You don't have to agree with them. Please do jot your own opinions in the comments. I love reading and appreciate different people's points of view, of course, so please do jot those in the comments, whether you agree with what I'm saying or I've got a different point of view. Fantastic, I love that. I'm not saying I'm right, I just, what you'll find with these brochures is I probably never looked at this brochure for however many years, and I just throw it on the board and I just read it, not really remembering the brochure at all, and I just go through it like you would do if you picked it up for the first time. So these are only sorts of opinions that are coming off my brain as we look at it together, as it were. Anyway, let's have a look at the engine and transmission specifications. Okay, so there's very tiny print, sadly, but it starts by telling us the engine displacement. So looks like the standard engine was that 3.7 litre 6-cylinder engine, which is, like I say, sounds like a big engine to European standards, but it actually would have been quite a small sized engine for the 70s, really, for an American style car. Looks like you could get bigger engines though. You could go and get an 8 litre by the looks of it, which is more what Americans and Canadians were probably more used to in this style of car, even though it's a bit smaller. So you can have a 5.2 litre 8-cylinder engine, and you can also get a 5.9 litre 360 cubic inch engine there as well. Moving down, what other information could we get from this? So installed net power, so the 3.7 litre 6-cylinder engine was 100 horsepower at 3600 RPM, which doesn't sound a great deal, does it? You could also get one which was 110 horsepower at 3600 RPM. The 5.2 litre 8-cylinder was 135 horsepower at 4000 RPM. And then the 5.9 litre 8-cylinder engine, you could get one that was 150 horsepower at 3600 RPM, and one that was 195 horsepower at 4000 RPM. Apparently that most powerful model there was only available for the 2-door coupe though. Moving down, engine availability by model. So your standard engine, of course, for all the 2-door coupes, 4-door sedans and the station wagon Aspen was that 6-cylinder 3.7 litre engine with that 100 horsepower engine. That was your standard. All the others were optional extras. So transmission, kind of like confirmation that the standard gearbox surprisingly was a 3-speed manual. I'm really surprised by that, actually. And that would have come up with that smallest engine, would have come as standard with that. Optional for a 4-speed with overdrive 4, I guess, manual floor mounted was one of your options, again for that most basic model. I would imagine most people would expect it as an automatic though, as an option. So a 3-speed auto, either column mounted or console mounted. Optional. It looks like console mounted was available on the 2-door coupe model with bucket seats, and station wagon model with the sports package. Not available on the 4-door sedans. So there we go. So there were some options. Surprising, like I say, that manual was there. I can't think very many people would actually spec it like that. Although the picture above, again, looks like it is showing it with a manual there as well on the station wagon. And then turning to the back page, rather nicely, it's showing some of the options you could have got at the time. Starting with A, your tilt steering wheel, welcome, comfort and convenience addition for the car with more than one driver, adjusts to fit the comfort and reach needs of anyone behind the wheel, moves easily out of the way for ease of entry and exit. Second option is, I guess, more for the estate, I'm assuming. The roof rack adds to your cargo carrying capacity. There may be times in your life of your wagon when even the ample cargo space won't be enough. I mean, that was possibly a nice option to go for your station wagon. You can also get air conditioning. Aspen's optional air conditioning is the perfect answer to hot weather driving. The system, with its high capacity blower, provides quick cool down. Blower speeds and temperature controls are fingertip handy. D, an 8-track stereo system. Your favourite music will sound better with this system. Makes your trips more enjoyable. E is showing you automatic speed control. For long drives, just set the speed control to the speed you desire. Great accelerator, foot rester and gas saver too. Cuts out when you accelerate, brake or disengage it. You've also got these wheels and cover. Here is one of the 5 road wheels and wheel cover options. It's your Aspen, have it your way. That was quite nice actually for the coupe version. My favourite picture of them all has to be G though. This Aspen towing a boat in this 2-tone colour and that sort of optional roof rack on there as well does look very nice. So a high spec version says trailer towing. The best time to consider this option is before you buy the car. A heavy duty Chrysler engineered trailer assist package can be installed at the factory. And then finally for your coupes, a T-bar roof dresses up your Aspen 2-door coupe to look like an expensive road car. Fresh air and sunshine are all yours with this option. Probably leaked. It looks cool, but maybe stay away from them. So some of the interesting little badges and writing at the bottom here. So Dodge, Chrysler, Dodge Trucks, sales and service, buy or lease. This one brochure of course printed in Canada as we learnt earlier. And it says at the bottom here, Dodge Aspen, protected by Chrysler's 36-month anti-corrosion warranty. Bit of the small print, telling you we can change things at any time. There's a little Chrysler logo, Chrysler Canada Limited. This very unusual little designed thing which I've not seen before. Dodge Dazzles by design in 79. That certainly is very 70s, and there is a little bit of a code at the bottom here, DAC79E, presumably that's 79, referring to 1979 of course. So there we go, a nice little Canadian brochure there for the Dodge Aspen. Do you remember these? Have you driven in one? Have you memories of them? How did you get on? Obviously we're talking more to people in North America there, but thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for our regulars if you're still watching today. I don't know if this sort of vehicle would interest you the same as the European vehicles, but we're talking about cars from around the world, so we have to include these, and hopefully we'll get more North American viewers, which are tiny numbers at the moment. I think the highest number by country is UK is number 1, Australia is number 2, and then I couldn't even tell you what number 3 is, but they're our top 2 countries. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do stop in again. We'll end by saying, as we always do, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. You'll never be paid for that, and keeps you in touch with the channel. And of course helps us grow and give you better content. But thank you so much for watching today. Please don't forget to like and comment. All the best. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye.